And we are live with an unbelievably an unbelievably special person in my life, in my business. Guys, this is my former second in command, Natalie. She and I built Spyglass together. The first 3 years we built that business together. And she's now on her own doing incredible things. And I wanted to bring her on to share some of her incredible wisdom with you all. So, Nat, thanks so much, seriously, for joining me. This is amazing.
It is a joy and a pleasure to be here on the other side with you. It
I
was
know,
so,
dude. We'll go to this side of things.
oh, we've come a
Yeah,
long way.
we really have. We really have. And I know, like, you were already a badass before I met you. And then your operations skill set really just took off over the course of those years together, doing so many different things. And now, like, just share a little bit about what it is that you do now.
Yeah, well, Spyglass is absolutely the gold standard for operations. And I absolutely credit everything that you taught me and that we worked so hard for the clients
Mhm.
in honing my ops chops and getting me to the point where I am today, which is
I love that.
a really cool spot. I really love what I do. I am a fractional COO and a ClickUp. Have so much passion for helping like solopreneurs to small businesses streamline
Mm.
their companies so that,
Yeah.
oops, did I lose you?
Nope, you're still here. We got you. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Coffee shop woes. Can you hear me, Nat? Can you hear me?
Oops, I think I lost you, Jhana.
Really? Hang on. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh no. Nat, check in. I can hear you. Nat,
Hey, I can kind of hear
you're back.
you.
Okay, I think it's on your end. Do you want to try switching over to a hotspot? All
Hmm.
right, guys. While Nat is getting herself figured out, I wanna highlight a couple of things, which is number one, like the fact that I worked with somebody for 3 years. She gained an incredible skill set to the point that she could then start her own business around that skill set and do what she does best, helping other people. To me, is one of the greatest testimonials of my career. That is one of the best things that I will ever do in my life. Um, I genuinely consider and believe our responsibility as business owners to create vehicles for growth, right? That's what our businesses are. They are a vehicle for growth for our clients, for sure, for ourselves, for sure, but also for our team. Does our team grow in the process of working with us and our business? And if you reconfigure everything that you believe around team and leadership and hiring and even firing, right? Like at some point, Nat and I had to step her out of the business, and that was a really difficult but beautiful process that we had to go through together. Like, we did it through the lens of what is going to allow and help Natalie grow the most. And at some point, the answer to that question was not working here, not working with me, not working together anymore. And when that moment hit, we had to make the decision to allow her to continue to grow and scale onwards and upwards and into doing her own business. And so if you are a business leader, a business owner, and your people are disposable, your people are just turning through the business, your people are not giving you their best effort, their best work while they're working for your company, I would invite you to look in the mirror and look at yourself and ask yourself the question, am I turning myself and my business into a vehicle for their growth? Because the second you do that, you can produce unbelievable results. And she's back. Nat, can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Okay, great. I was just going on a little rant about how like inspired I am by just your growth curve and everything that you've created for yourself since working together and now since doing your own thing. So I think we're good to dive right in. You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Cool. So we wanted to talk with everyone and share a little bit of value on like actually a topic that I don't think I've ever shared or talked about much live, which is really interesting. But essentially, it is this concept of how do we track, how do we measure holistic personal success instead of just business success? Like you and I talked about this a lot when we were working together and trying to figure out metrics for Spyglass, but like it's so shitty to me that there are all these different pillars of life, and yet we only focus on metrics for one pillar, which is financial success, right? Like if people are tracking anything in their business, they're going to be tracking revenue and profit, and am I making the dollars work? But there are so many other metrics and definition of success, we're just not tracking them. So yeah, share a little bit on this topic. Like what do you see, and like what are some of the top metrics that you feel like go missed?
Well, it's interesting that you've never talked about this, because you're
I
actually the
know, isn't
one
that weird?
who inspired this like in me, and inspired me to work with my clients on this. Because what I talk to so many people about is they're like, yeah, I've optimized for revenue in my business or growth in my business, and all of that has happened because I'm tracking it and managing it,
Right.
but it is happening at the expense of other things in my life, other pillars of my life that are also important to me, but that I have left to the wayside because I'm only focusing on my business.
Yep.
I talk to so
Yep.
many people who are working and they're like, man, my health has gone down the drain. I don't go on dates with my wife anymore. Like
Right.
my kids are they were young and then I blinked and now they're teenagers and I don't get to spend time with them, and that sucks. But my
Right.
business
Right.
is doing great.
Right. Right. Yeah. 100%. 100%. We see that all the time.
Yeah, and it's so I think there comes this like realization time when people are scaling their business where they're like, man, it's just not worth it anymore to grow at this rate and
Mm.
hustle at this
Mm-hmm.
grind if I'm doing it at the expense of other pillars of my life. And so, like I mentioned before, like you really inspired this in me because you have such a beautiful balance to your life.
Mm.
You are growing and scaling your business, and you are spending every weekend playing out. Like that's a huge your life, and that's a huge
Yep.
like health metric of your life as a whole complex multifaceted human being.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
And I remember that we almost like created you a personal fulfillment dashboard.
I remember that. I was going to talk about that. Yes. But I don't think we ultimately did. So like now this is my opportunity to learn, like, okay, if I was to go back and recreate that, what would I even put on there? Like, okay, so somebody is stuck in their business. It's costing them heavily across other pillars of their life. What do they do? Like, what's the next action step to take there?
It is like it's so intuitive for business owners to say, oh, I know that I am optimizing in my business for revenue or for profit or MRR
Mm-hmm.
or LTV. And we make very different decisions in our business based on what we are seeing North Star metric. And it's not that far of a jump to say, what are you optimizing for in your life? What
Sure.
is the North Star metric for the different areas and pillars of your life? And so the more like practical way and like tangible way that I've found to break that down is, what is your North Star metric for your health,
Okay.
your wealth, your relationships, and your happiness? And you only
Okay.
need to pick 4 metrics to be optimizing for and tracking along those categories. And you should be tracking and measuring those with the same diligence that
Mm.
you are measuring and tracking your business metrics, because they are just as important as
Mm.
pillars in your life.
Okay, so it was health, wealth, relationships, and happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I think we all understand the wealth metrics. Give me examples of health, relationships, and happiness.
So I have clients who are tracking their average resting heart rate, because like
Interesting.
that is the all-encompassing like representative metric of how their health is doing.
That's interesting.
They're not like tracking, it's not like it's not a habit tracker. It's not,
Mm,
did I
mm.
brush my teeth today? Did I make my bed? Did I
Right,
like,
right. Did I
it
go to
is
the gym 5 times a
right.
week? Yeah,
It
interesting.
is like, what is the one all-encompassing representative metric that
Mm,
will give you an accurate gauge of your health in that area, whether it's the health metric or the wealth or the happiness relationships.
yeah, interesting.
So like my health metric is my max I can do every week.
Right, right,
Because for me, I'm optimizing for strength as
right.
measured by how many chin-ups can I do.
Okay. Yep.
So that is what I'm tracking week over week and making sure that I'm making progress in the right direction. And I know that if I'm continuing to hold steady or increase, that
Mm,
that pillar of my life is strong.
right. Love that. Okay, cool. Health. So this is a fitness goal. This is a like overall wellness metric, but I like what you said of like it is a indicator, right? It doesn't have to be you're tracking every single calorie and every single like time that you go to the gym. It's the all-encompassing North Star that you know you're going to like if you want to do more chin-ups, you know you're going to eat well in order to achieve the result of doing more
Totally.
chin-ups. Yeah,
Totally.
totally.
The
Okay.
purpose of like tracking these metrics is not that you have like a whole nother part-time job on the side of
Right.
your business
Right.
and your life. So if you can track 4 metrics every single week.
Right.
That's so doable.
Mm,
So yeah, so that's health. Wealth, yeah, it can be obvious, can be how much money is in your bank account, but it can also be less obvious things that I think are worth touching on, like
okay.
how much debt you're paying off.
That's interesting.
I have a client who's tracking that. I have a client who's tracking what percentage of their income they're donating to charity.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Love
So
that.
it doesn't have to be obvious things. The point is, it is what matters to you, what
Right.
brings you fulfillment.
Mm,
For
mm,
some people, the amount of money in their bank account, that number is not what brings them fulfillment.
right.
They really, really care about the good they can do in the world via their money.
I love that. I love that. And I think there is something powerful there of like if you're tracking money for the sake of money. Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all the tech issues today.
This is the danger of long hair. I literally just rip headphones out of my head consistently. That happens all the time. Okay. So the question around wealth is not just like, what is the financial goal that you may have, but like why do you care about that goal? And is there actually a metric beyond money, which is the underlying why? Like saving up for a house or a meaningful gift for somebody or whatever it is like that you choose to do with that money. Maybe that's the ultimate North Star.
Right,
I love
exactly. The
love that.
goal itself is just a number. It doesn't matter. It
Right.
is always the why behind family and your fulfillment as a human being.
Right. Okay. Love that. Okay. Got it. Health, wealth, relationships. How would you measure that?
I have a client who measures how many date nights he gets to go on with his wife every week.
Cool.
I have clients who, before they started working with me, they missed 75% of dinners with their family.
Whoa.
And so
Wow.
their relationship metric that they track is how many dinners do they get to eat with their family,
Wow.
which is like the most important.
Right.
Like
Right.
there is nothing more important than
Right. Yeah. Okay. Love
that.
that.
I have another client who he goes on what he calls God walks, and it's
Hmm.
basically like being out in nature and having like essentially like a prayer session. And it's his
Hmm.
relationship with his faith that he's
Hmm.
optimizing. So
That's beautiful.
what I love is that everyone really has their own unique definition. And if
Yep.
you make dinner with your family every single night and like that's not an issue, don't track it. It doesn't
Right.
matter. Track what
Right.
matters to you and track what's going
Right.
to make a difference to you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And there's something about that as well. Laura, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Like, if I'm thinking about these metrics for myself right now, I imagine that they might be like seasonal, right? Like for the next 6 months, I feel like I've really gotten off track with my health. And now I really want to double down and focus on health as measured by this one thing. And then maybe, like maybe that's strength or maybe that is, XYZ. And then 6 months after that, I'm like, cool, I've achieved the strength metric that I wanted for myself. And now I can shift it to something else, some other indicator that captures what I want to work on next within my, health pillar. Like these can evolve.
Totally. Just like in your business, you would have different North Stars and quarters that you're in.
Right.
So with your life.
Right. Yeah. Love that. Okay. Amazing. Relationships. Yeah, I could see a ton around that of like, if you're single, what is the like number or quality of dates that you want to go on? If you have kids, what is the relationship you want to have with your kids? Yeah. What's most important? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Okay. And then how about happiness? This one I'm the most curious about. How do you measure happiness?
This is the way I explain it. It's more of like doing it for you type thing. Like
Okay.
in your case, it really may be how many weekends you get to spend playing outside.
Like it probably is.
Like how many nights you spend under the stars.
Yeah, like number of hours in sunshine. Like I'm literally
Totally.
outside right now. Like Yep, okay.
If you are less outdoorsy, it may be like how many pages of for fun books do you read a week?
Okay.
Like
yep.
the things that you do for yourself that really fill your soul gas tank. That's what this metric is.
There was a moment last year where I didn't think of it this way, but the metric that I was trying to optimize for was moments of complete presence. Like I really wanted to focus more on being in, focusing in on the present. And so there were moments where I could capture that feeling of just being like fully in it. And I wanted to optimize for that state of mind as much as possible.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever actually like sit down and say, I felt that 5 times this week?
I don't think I did. And so that's the thing that I love about this, right? Is that like, you said I inspired this, and I understand that to an extent in that I set very strong boundaries around how I, balance my work against the other pillars of my life. But in terms of measuring it, it's always like like it's like, am I happy? I don't know. Let's suss it out. Like, are my relationships good? And so I think there is something really powerful in terms of putting numbers to it, because more than anything, that feels like accountability, like you're accountable to yourself, you're accountable to that number that you put in there every week. And it's a reminder, it's a top of mind reminder that you've decided that other things in your life are important, not just the level or speed of revenue and growth within your business. And so I think the accountability element there would be really powerful.
And like when I say that you should be tracking these just as diligently and seriously as your business, like at Spyglass, a huge part of the consulting that you do is helping people create like a data infrastructure and helping them create dashboards and displays for the data in their business. I use the same template that I help create data infrastructure for a business.
I love that.
The same exact template for creating essentially like a data infrastructure and a dashboard for your life.
Okay.
So you have a weekly accountability. You put in the numbers, you analyze them. You say, is this a red, yellow, green? Am I on track for my goal for the month based on how I am performing week over week? And what needs to be true in order to get me from red to yellow and from yellow to green. So it's truly that accountability. And then you have it pulled into beautiful graphs and displays so that you can see the story over patterns in between how many hours you're spending in your business versus how many dinners you show up to with your family.
Right. Interesting.
And that visual display is what helps you really make better decisions about where you're putting your time and your efforts and your energy and what needs to be true in order to get you to your, not only your business goals, but also your life goals.
Hell yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm curious now, off the top of your head, are there any like massive transformation stories or success stories of clients who have implemented this where like they've surprised themselves in terms of how this has worked for them?
Yeah. I was actually just reviewing a client's dashboard the other day. So he's the one who's tracking his average resting heart rate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's his health metric,
Yep.
and he's seeing the number of hours that he spends wearing his CEO hat in his business.
Wow. Cool. Okay.
I've got him on Timular.
I love
It's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the really cool thing about having the visual display is that we can see a correlation over time
Mm.
between, as he is spending more and more time in his zone of genius and his CEO hat,
Mm.
his resting heart rate has decreased.
That's so interesting. That's so
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah.
wait, like elaborate on that. Draw the logical chain there.
So he used to be like the everything person in his business. He's running
Yep.
a 7-figure run rate business, and he was doing it all essentially by himself, and
Well,
essentially like with just like sticky notes on his desk. Like he had no
sure.
operations infrastructure, no systems, no processes, and no team.
Yep.
So we put in systems, we put in processes. We've got him a team that is systematically taking activities off
Mm.
of his plate, low level things, things that were eating up his time, things that he's not good at, that's stressing him out.
Mm.
And now that he has a lot of that stuff off of his plate, and he's really able to focus just in his zone of genius, more and
Mm.
more and more, his resting heart rate has gone down more and more and more.
That's so I love the idea of like operations puts years on your life. Like that's never an angle we've tested. But that is, I mean, that's what I'm hearing you say, right? Like of like you're literally just reducing the felt stress and increasing the joy experienced within the work pillar of his life. And then you can see that track against the other pillars of his life. That's super cool.
Totally, totally. And then like, we keep saying how it's hard to track and measure.
Mm.
The like
Mm.
the the increase in personal fulfillment in your life, although that's hard to put a monetary value to,
Sure. Yeah.
seeing it in numbers
Mm.
is an ROI.
That's cool. I love that. I love that. Nat, amazing. If so, what's so incredible about the work that you're doing is that we now get to play in such complementary ways
Yes.
because you do incredible work for six-figure businesses owners. While at Spyglass, we mostly focus on seven-figure and above. And so, for six-figure business owners, how can you help them? And if they want to reach out to you to, better track and better achieve really a holistic definition of success, how can they find you?
Yes, of course. You can always find me at
Love that.
tiptopops.co.
Okay.
Making sure that your business top shape is in tip top shape as well. Um, yeah, I have several ways that I help depending on what you need. It can be as comprehensive and holistic as a fractional COO, and it can be as simple as, I'm just going to get your ClickUp into
Mm.
tip top shape and make sure that it is carrying as much load as possible so that you don't have to carry the load and your team doesn't have to carry the load.
I love that. Guys, if you're a six-figure business owner, if you need support in your operations, if you need support in bringing your business back into balance with your greater life, please reach out to Nat. I will be as your first client, as the first CEO that you really helped get her life together, get her business together. You know that I have nothing but absolutely incredible things to say about you. So thank you so much for joining me, Nat. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jhana. It was awesome to chat with you.
Yeah, you too, babe.
Collaborate on like grow their businesses without getting stuck in the prisons of them, and help
Mm.
them streamline things so that more growth and more clients means more freedom for them and not more work.
I love that. Preach. Amazing. Nat, have a beautiful rest of your day. And guys, reach out to her, okay? We'll talk soon.
Thanks, John.